I'm Rita Peterson with Everything Homemade, and this is my son Orion, who is 9. He's going to give me a hand. And today we are, actually I should say tonight, we're going to start making bread. This is my quick method for a sourdough bread with a little bit of a cheat in it to speed it up. I'm going to teach you this method. I'm going to teach you the traditional sourdough method with a little bit of a twist, my own way of doing a traditional sourdough. These are my two breads that I use all the time. I also have a video on sprouted bread, and that I make in between these breads, okay? So these couple videos coming up will show you exactly how to make some simple bread. A lot of people get really scared about trying to make their own bread, and I really want to simplify it. I want to show you how simple it is to make bread and enjoy it and not spending hours in the kitchen. I got 5 kids, I homeschool, we have a farm, I garden, all these things. How do I stick in making bread for a family of 7? Okay, are you ready? All right. First thing, I'll warn you, my bread is not the normal, as you can tell from other videos. I made this bread recipe up about 8 years ago. One, because we had limited ingredients, and I have stuck with it. It is awesome. I get compliments all the time from people coming to our house and eating it. So, what's in it? It is so simple. Okay, let's take a look. What's in this bowl? Right here, this is kefir. Okay, so I have 9 cups of kefir. Ocean, try to hold that camera still, okay? I want to just take this moment to thank you for my 8-year-old Ocean who is filming. I have 9 cups of kefir. Now, if you don't have kefir, you can do 9 cups of yogurt. If you don't got kefir and yogurt and you want to go dairy-free, you can use 2 lemons, squeeze it into a total of 9 cups of water with the squeezed lemon, okay? If you don't have lemon, you can use apple cider vinegar, a half a cup of apple cider vinegar into 8.5 cups of water to a combined amount of 9 cups. If you don't have vinegar and you have kombucha, great. You can use 9 cups of kombucha. You can split it in half, kombucha, water, just a total of 9 cups. Why are we doing this? Why are we soaking? Or why are we starting with this? One, because when I take my flour, which is freshly milled flour, every grain has a coating, and that coating pulls minerals out of your body. Our body cannot digest it, and it actually takes the minerals out of our body. So what we want to do is take the flour, put it into something that has culture in it. The lemon, the apple cider, the yogurt, the kefir, the kombucha, that basically eat up that coating, so it is almost pre-digested before it goes into your body. It's a much healthier bread, way easier to digest that gluten, way easier on your gut and everything else. So the night before, which it's about, almost 7 o'clock in the evening, before we get going, we're going to do this preparation. It's simple. You take 9 cups of your cultural substance, and how many cups of?
11.
And you have 11 cups of flour, and this is wheat flour. You can do rye flour, split rye with wheat. You can do barley flour with this. So I'm going to dump this in and you're going to mix. So you take this, dump all that flour in, and you mix it up. Whew. All right. Okay, so mix it up, buddy.
Okay.
And so you got to have a strong arm here. So we're going to just mix this flour up with the kefir until it's completely mixed. And we're going to leave it overnight. So half of my bread is already done by the time I wake up. Depending on how well your, how much culture is in your cultured mixture, it will actually even rise overnight, which is unbelievable. but this just takes away a lot of the prep in the morning. Normally, you know, I'm doing a lot of talking here, but this takes me like 2 minutes to do. So I do this the night before. I wake up in the morning and I make the rest of the bread, which would give me a total another 10 minutes. So this is a very, very simple. Is it hard?
It's getting stiff.
It's getting stiff. Okay, let's take... Mom can still beat you on this one, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, soon you'll be beating your mom. Hmm?
Yeah.
Alright, so we want to mix it up, and I hope you guys can see this. So the mixture, you want to put your hand right underneath this bowl. This bowl gets heavy. So this is the consistency that I want for my bread. I don't want it really liquidy. I don't want it really, really stiff either. Just a really, really set up for a dough. Okay, the other thing I want to tell you is never, ever do this in a metal bowl. It will not work. You know what, I don't really know 100% why it does it, but if you do it in a metal bowl, it's got to be something to do with the culture and the metal. It goes like liquidy. It's just like really stringy, and it does not set up. Makes awful bread. So do it in a glass bowl, whatever you're soaking with an acidic liquid or culture. Okay, always do it in here. And then we're going to just grab some towels. So buddy, you want to start putting these over? So you just grab some towels.
Let's go.
Yep. Come on. There you go. And leave it overnight.
No, a cutting board.
No, we'll worry about that after. If you want, you can put a cutting board over it so the cats don't get to it, which we do in this house because we have cats. Otherwise, you leave it like this, put it on your counter, and I will see you tomorrow morning and we'll make some bread. Hello, we're back here this morning to make our bread. So let's take a look. I have some flour here that I need, and there's probably about 20 cups here, and I might not need it all, but I might. Totally depends on the consistency of what I see here. So let's take this off and take a look what's inside. Okay, so this is my mixture. Ready to go. Looks awesome. So the first thing I need to do right now is I need to get the yeast ready to go into here. Then I add the flour and make it into a dough. Okay? So let's just come on over here and I'll show you what to do with the yeast. Now this particular bread, I am going to do adding actual yeast to it. Well, the next bread I will actually show you with a sourdough culture as the yeast. But I'm going to show you two ways of doing this. Alright, so I have my pot on a hot plate. I'm going to turn on my hot plate. I'm going to add some water. This doesn't have to be very precise. Just enough water in here. Probably about a half a cup, I would say, or a little bit less. I add a little bit of honey because yeast needs sugar. And I just pop that off the spoon. And what I'm basically doing here is melting the honey. Just enough where the water is just warm. Not hot, just warm. I can stick my finger in there and go, yes, it's warm, and it just melts the honey. So as that's melting, I'm going to get my yeast. And I forgot to pull out. I always forget to pull out something. And lick the honey off my finger here. Alright, so we'll just get this melted, and it takes a couple of minutes. So we'll just pause the camera here while we're waiting for this to melt. Okay, so this is melted enough. If you can take a good look here, I can stick my finger in here. It's nice and warm. I'm going to turn off the hot plate. And I'm going to take it off the hot plate. It's important that you take it off the hot plate because if you leave it on the hot plate, this hot plate's hot. And the longer you leave it on, the hot plate's still going to heat your mixture, and then you're going to cook your yeast. And then it's going to die. Alright, so we add some yeast. I would say a tablespoon altogether. As you watch my other videos, you know me measuring is eyeballing it up. So we mix it up and there you go. So this will take 5 to 10 minutes depending on the temperature of your water and the room. About 5 to 10 minutes. So I'll see you back in 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, take a look at this. The yeast is risen. This is what you want. You want kind of almost, they call like a mushroom cloud. It just rises. So we're going to take this yeast mixture and now we are going to literally, as simple as it is, pour it into our other mixture. Then I'm going to just take a wooden spoon, give it a quick little mix. Okay. And as simple as that, then we take the flour. Now, this is where making bread, you just gotta look at the consistency you got, okay? You want a nice bread dough consistency, and I'll show you that. So I don't just dump all this in once, because if you're doing, did this with kombucha, if you did this with vinegar and water and lemon juice and water, even with yogurt, it changes the consistency every time because the yogurt might have had a little more liquid in it. The kefir might have been more liquidy, or maybe it gelled. So there is some variables to this, and this is where you don't have to be so exact, okay? You have your mixture. Now I need to make this into a bread dough. So I take some flour. I put it in here. And this is where you use your hands. Get rid of the wooden spoon. Get your hands right in there. Okay. And this is where you want to almost just start mixing it in until you got it where you have to have it out of your bowl. And it's just, right now it's too sticky for me to put it on the table that I'm working on. And so I'm going to mix in the flour. And I can add some more. Okay, and I keep punching it in. Notice that I'm going in like this. Okay, and that if I go in like this, I don't mix it really well. I want to mix it all the way to the bottom of my bowl. And then I go and I take my hand and I start lifting up that dough. And I just keep moving it around. And this here will make 5 to 6 loaves. We're a family of 7. I don't like fooling around small. I like to make sure that there's some bread for at least 5 days, so I can make whatever I want to make with it. Okay, so what we got here now, it's still very soft, but it's not totally sticky, okay? And so I'm almost to the point where I am going to take it out of my bowl and knead it. I got a little bit more flour here. And you don't want it really sticky, but you don't want so much flour in it that it becomes a stiff mixture. It needs to be soft. And you'll notice too the difference between soaking with yogurt and kefir then soaking with water and an acid in it. It's yogurt and kefir make a softer dough, while kombucha, apple cider vinegar, and lemon make a stiffer dough, but the end result still works out really well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of flour on here, okay, and I'm going to tip my bowl. I'm going to take my hands, roll that dough out, move my bowl to the side. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start kneading this dough. And you'll notice there is no salt in here, doesn't need any. You can add some. I always make it without. It tastes wonderful just without it. You notice that there's no eggs. This recipe literally is yeast, a little tiny bit of honey, just to make that yeast active, a little bit of water, your soaking ingredients, and flour. And now I'm going to start to knead it. And it's a little, and as I knead it, I'll put a little bit of flour on top so I don't stick. And you are kneading this dough until it becomes a little bit sticky, and that's when you activated the gluten in it, so you don't have holes in your bread. Again, a little bit of flour. Get this, and you just keep working at it. And I need about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how I feel. Some days I'm more tired than others, so I just do the bare minimum. Ocean, can you put your foot over at the table so my table stops slipping, please?
Yes.
Okay. And so on, I'm going to keep on going here. Like I said, sometimes I do 5 minutes. Totally depends on how tired I am. I try to go as long as I can. It makes a nicer bread. And like I said, then you don't got the holes in it. And now I don't want to add any more flour. This is really coming out nice. You can tell it's soft, but it's not sticking to my table. Okay, so we're gonna call it good there. So that is the dough right here. Beautiful dough. It's nice, it's held together, it's not too tough. Okay, so we take this, put it into our bowl, and then we'll cover it. And it'll rise 2 to 4 hours. Totally depends on the temperature of your room. If it's a really hot day, 1 hour. If it's room temperature, 22 degrees Celsius, 72 degrees Fahrenheit, it might take about 2 hours. Whichever the case is, you let it rise. And we're gonna let it rise till it comes up to here, and I'll see you back in a few hours. Hello, we're right back about 2.5 hours later, and look at our bread. Look at that. Awesome. So what we're gonna do now is the last preparation. We need to flour our pan. So Orion's gonna flour this last one. Behind me I have 3 more that is already floured, and we also have a cat. So dip it right in there. This is oil. This is actually melted coconut oil. You can use olive oil. It doesn't matter. Biggest thing is you need to coat your pans if you are using glass, and then flour them. Otherwise your bread's gonna stick to it. It's that simple. How are you doing, buddy?
Good.
Good. Get a little bit more on there. And you want to be quite generous with the oil here. We have this for a second. You want to really put it in there because it's got a really... Did I spray you? I'm sorry. Just want some oil on your face, eh? Anyway, take that, and what you're going to do is pour the flour into this pan and give it a try, and then basically you're moving it around, getting that flour to stick to your pan. Go over. Okay, so as he does that, we're going to move our pans over here. Awesome. Alright, the leftover flour we're going to dump in here. Then what we're going to do is you're going to punch down that bread. Yeah. Good job. Okay. You're going to take some flour. Go like that. Annika, stay there, please. No, stay in the living room, please. Okay. And then we're going to take that out. Okay. All right. So the biggest thing here is you don't want to knead this, over knead again, okay? So what we're going to do is we're just going to make, basically just roll it out. What should I call this? Like a big snake?
Yeah.
Look like a snake?
Yeah.
All right. Something like that. All right, so we're going to push that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a knife and you're going to split this into 5 loaves. So, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? And the first one I'm going to cut off myself. And then I'm going to cut off a piece for Orion. And we're going to teach you a really good method how to get this into here looking like some bread. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to press it down. Then we're going to turn it. And we actually are going to roll it, then press. Roll, then press. Roll, then press. And roll. What that does, it creates the dough to come into each other. Then we're going to flip it again. And we're going to roll it again. Press it in. Roll it. And you notice I'm pressing it in. Rolling it. Pressing it in. Rolling it. Pressing it in. And it suddenly... it actually becomes a very strong bread. And then what you want to do is knead it a couple of times with your hands. Just a few times with your hands and get it into that bread. How you doing, buddy? You take it, put it in your pan. How did that turn out?
Good.
Oh, good job. Okay,
Could I
next
cut
one.
another one?
Yeah,
I'll cut that one.
sure. Okay, you cut it. Awesome. Okay, let's do that again. And what this happens is you won't have, like when you cut homemade bread, sometimes you have this big hole in the middle. And then your top falls off and your bottom falls off and you just become so irritated because you can't make sandwich bread. This takes it away. So let's do it again. Press down. Roll. Flatten. Again. And then I do it a couple of times. And bam, beautiful loaf. In the pan we go. Next one.
There.
Yeah, let's try it. Now, you see how floppy that looks on the side, buddy? You did a very good job, but let's just squish it in.
Okay. I'll put it in the pan.
Okay? Yeah, now you get it in the pan. Okay, let's do this last one here. Again, I do the same technique for every single one. And it ends up having wonderful bread. Just leave it there, buddy. This whole thing is all floury. Okay. And what if you go, oh man, look at all those ridges. I don't like that. Okay, let's do it again. Let's smoothen this out. Okay. This one's going to be a little bit bigger. And I just kind of shape it from there. I like patting my bread. Nice and smooth. Okay. And throw it in there. Okay, take a look. Want to back up that way, buddy? The other way? So there's my loaves. So this is critical, and a lot of people have asked me this. I flopped my bread did not rise. I put it in the oven and it just stayed small. Okay, this is critical, and I'm going to make a note of this as I preheat my oven. I'm going to preheat my oven here. My oven takes 6 minutes to preheat. That is all I give my bread over here time to rise the second time. If you need to push your bread anyway, meaning that you're busy with something and you're like, oh, I got to get my bread. Look how much it has risen in the bowl. Let it rise more. If you don't want to flop your bread here, the way you push your bread is you can let it rise longer in the bowl than you will in your pans. So sometimes what you see, sometimes I won't get to my bread till like 4 hours later. My bread's like gonna fall out of the bowl. Yet I still punch it down, put it in the loaves, and then put it in my oven, but I wait 6 minutes. Enough time for my oven to heat. If you let it over-rise in your pans, it's gonna flop in your oven because the bread's just gonna, it's done. It won't rise. So your critical here is in pans, preheat your oven. When your oven's done preheating, shove it in. And sometimes, you know what, I got a busy family, okay? It's not like I have all this time. Sometimes I feel like I'm always in a rush. Sometimes I cheat. I put my oven on, it's preheating right now, and I'm going, oh my goodness, I've got supper to be made. I gotta shove this in the oven. I'm gonna shove my bread in the oven as it is preheating. No, Annika, stay there. As you can tell. Okay, so I'm gonna put my loaves in here. Done. Close the oven and let it finish preheating. And it will rise beautifully. The biggest issue is people let this, the bread in the pans rise for half an hour, 45 minutes after they put it in the pans and then put it in the oven, and then the bread goes, and trust me, I've made a lot of small little loaves to learn this lesson. This is how I make my bread. Works beautifully all the time. And you let it cook under 350 degrees for an hour. After an hour, you take it off, cool it off, and then enjoy your fresh bread. So I will see you back here in 1 hour, and I will show you the end result. Exactly an hour later, and take a look. Oh, you know what? I love the smell of fresh bread. Okay, so what we're gonna do is take your bread out and put it on cooling racks. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Here. And you see how easy they are to pop out of your glass? Look at that. And that is everything to making bread. Now you let it cool. And tomorrow morning we'll eat wonderful fresh bread. And that is it. So if you have any comments, questions, anything, please feel free to ask me. Subscribe to my channel. I'd love to hear from you. And have a wonderful day.